One of my spiciest Edison format takes is gotta be my opinion on Synchro Cat. Because I think that Synchro Cat is just straight up one of the most underrated decks in the entire format right now. I think like the good old fashioned like Gravekeeper Spy triple Arabellum build just like isn't that bad. Like I don't know. It's one of these decks from way back in the day, from way back in 2010, which hasn't really changed much since then. But I don't really think it needs to. I think like frankly, its matchup spread is solid. It's like the best Avarice deck out there except Quick Draw, but it doesn't have the like getting owned by Blackwings problem that Quick Draw has. I'm wondering if people kind of just underrate this deck because they sort of have like branched off into playing other cat builds. Because I think this version is just like fine if you make a few tweaks and optimizations from the builds that were played in 2010. Obviously, you shouldn't be playing Doomcal or any stupid stuff like that. But I mean, just playing some like flip monsters and some Arabellums and some Caiuses, I think you got yourself a solid deck there. I really do. I'm maybe not top tier, but like tier 1.5 ish. I don't know where I put it on my tier list actually, but on my tier list, I'm always looking at the plant build, so that might make me put it lower than I think this build is because I just hate plants. Uh, yeah, weird opinion, right? Because Amaryllis deck was my thing, but like I should revise that statement. I really don't like just playing Lone Fire, Dandy, Titanial just to play them. I used to be a big fan of just playing those cards in a bunch of different things, but I think just playing that in isolation is quite bad. I think you need to either be full committed, like playing an Amaryllis deck, or just playing Dandelion with like Quick Draw or something. But I do not like Lone Fire Blossom. I think that I draw Titanial too much. That's really what it is. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that build. I don't really. No offense to my teammate Snack, it's just never been my preferred cat build. I think I've tried a bunch of other ones. We've tried the Moja stuff. We've tried Ghost Rider's Diva version, but I always come back to this one and just think like, man, there really is no reason not to just keep playing the Gravekeeper Spy like 2010 technology version because like it still feels really solid. It still feels really like it doesn't have the crazy unfairness that the tier 1 decks have, but it can compete with those decks. It can compete with those decks pretty well. So let's just go over my list really quick. One thing that you'll notice that is blatantly missing is, I guess, Dark Arm Dragon. I'm pretty sure all versions of this deck from 2010 played Dark Arm Dragon. I mean, like, people were just obsessed with the ramming dad into decks that they just like didn't fit into way back then. It was a thing for a long time. It was a thing for a long time. People just putting Dark Arm Dragon and stuff where they really probably shouldn't have been. Yeah, I mean, you got Spy, you got some Darks, right? Without the Doom Cows, I don't really think you have enough. I mean, you have some Graveguard control with Avarice, but I really think you need to be on a little bit of a higher level in terms of your dark monsters and your graveyard manipulation for Dark Arm Dragon to actually be worth it. Yeah, it feels great when you resolve it, but I think in this deck, I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a brick too much. But we are on Sork, of course. We got plenty of lights and darks, so Sork's got to be in there. Double Caius, I think pretty good ratio when you're playing one of these flip monster set heavy decks. Double Sidra, of course, to go with the triple Arabellum because it's pure Synchro Cat, so we're maxed out on Arabellums because it also goes with our Spies to make Arcanite Magician. Then you got Cat, Monk, Sangan to get to the Cat or the Monk. Then triple Raikou Charge. I do not play Hamster in here. The reason is because I feel Hamster is redundant with Spy. And it's just like too many like slow flip monster walls. I don't think Hamster is bad to play. Like if you just wanted to cut Spy, maybe, but then you probably got to cut Airbellum down to 2 or something, and then it changes the whole build. So I think it's fine to just be on Raikous. You could cut Charge even if you want. You could cut Charge and just play 3 Raikous if you don't like Charge. I have a preference for having the Avarice live ASAP, but I could you could maybe cut this and Card Trooper and do something else there. But I do not think that Hamster is optimal when you're already on triple Spy because it just like does the same thing, like almost identical what it does. So I like the Trooper though. Trooper gives you another like proactive normal summon to maybe swing into a set monster. It's a 19 beater. It's just a really good card. Again, milling, get the Avarice live ASAP. I think you kind of want to be going that route when you're playing Synchro Cat because the deck really is all about Pot of Avarice stuff. So getting pluses, putting it all back, and doing it again. So for the spells, we mentioned Pot of Avarice, going to be very central to any cat build. Obviously, we are on the charge. I don't think it's necessary to be on charge, but I prefer it. Allure of Darkness, of course, we do play definitely enough darks for Allure. There's like, what? There's like 10 dark monsters in here. Then Brain Mind. I'm not on Cold Wave main. I think Snack has been saying for a while Cold Wave main isn't worth it, and I've definitely started to believe her. I think that it just feels like, kind of like Dad. It's just like a dead draw a lot of times. Yeah, it's crazy when you resolve a big Cold Wave and you win, but a lot of times you're just staring at this card in your hand like, why am I playing this? And then Heavy Typhoon. Book of Moon, you could maybe bump this up to 2 Book of Moon. Maybe, I don't know, you could cut Compulsory or just play 2 Book of Moon. I think Book of Moon's very good in here. And then we got our pretty standard 10 traps, double bottomless, triple dimensional prison, compulse, and the 4 good ones. So the side deck, there's not a whole lot to explain. It's mostly normal. I side the Cold Wave, and then we have anti-spells. I've started siding this card and stuff. I just decided, like, I'm not losing to Dragon Turbo, I think it's a legitimate thing to do. I think this is inspired by Sunny, by the way. I'm pretty sure it was Sunny that said, maybe you should just start siding anti-spell to have some, like, extra hate against Dragon. Just, like, absolutely screw you, Dragon Turbo players. And I can kind of get behind that, because if you draw this versus Dragon Turbo, you pretty much just win. Like, okay, maybe if they go first and they have some, like, crazy turn and they just go, like, red med, set a bunch or something, maybe then you might lose. But, like, I feel like 90% of the time, if you open anti-spell versus turbo, you're just winning that game. So, I don't know. It might not be worth the slots, but I'm testing it out for now. Extra deck, of course, completely standard, and then you got the Arcanite Magician to make with the Spy or the Summoner Monk. So that's the build. We've gone over it long enough. Let's go ahead and look at the replays. First match is going to be up against Hero Frog. Definitely not what you would think of as a good matchup in a deck that is playing this many set monsters, because they just Caius your guys, So they make an odd play here, and they Typhoon this. I don't think I would ever Typhoon in this situation as the Frog player. Like, Stratos just plays so well into back row. Maybe post-board if you're worried about pulling the rug. They do try to Rhoda for a Prodigy, which I wasn't even looking when this was happening, so he could have gotten away with it, but no, it doesn't end up going that way. So he instead Rhodas for the 3rd Junk Synchron. So he's on a maxed out Junk Synchron build with the hero stuff, which is definitely unusual. Definitely unusual. Anyway, he swings into Spy, which is nice. I go ahead and grab Descendant from deck, because I don't know what he's playing at this point. Well, he showed the Prodigy, so maybe I should suspect Frogs, but it could also just be Diva Hero as well. So I think going the Descendant to just threaten the back row, or even just to threaten like a Gores or whatever. Or not a Gores. What am I? Yeah, I think just to intimidate him from setting back row. Even Frogs play back row, like Radiant Key Break and stuff. So I think it was fine to do that. Get the Descendant out of the deck. You really don't want to draw the Descendant anyway. But as it stands, he doesn't set, so pretty obvious what the play is for here. We go into the X-Saber Urbellum, and we get to basically Yada lock him. This is why you got to put Urbellum in your extra deck, man. I don't know why people don't put this card in their extra deck. It's like the card comes up quite often. Yeah, it doesn't come up often against like Blackwings, I guess, but there are these other decks in the format that have cards in their hand. They don't just set everything, and they're quite the menaces too. They're not even like low key, random rogue stuff. It's like Frogs and Dragon Turbo are 2 of the best decks, okay? And Urbellum is amazing versus them. And the opponent has actually just scooped because Urbellum is too good. So we're going on to game number 2. Game number 2, similar opening. Stratos get Prodigy. We just special out Sidra. His hand is quite good this game. I end up setting the Torrential just because Compulsory and Deep Prison are like cards that you can set later. You could set them proactively into an established field and they do something, whereas Torrential kind of needs to be preset. And here's where we figure out they're on Frogs. Now, he did this a little fast. I probably could have Torrentialed when he summoned the first Swap Frog and used the effect to dump the sub, but I opted not to do it. I opted to greed the Torrential, which maybe I should have set the Raikou if I was going to greed the Torrential, to be fair to me. But I'm just like, all right, we're getting rid of this Dupe Frog lock one way or another. So we run over, and then he forgets to search with Dupe, which is a little bit odd. I don't know why he did that. I guess it may be just a brain fart on his part. But here we just go Stardust. I don't set the Deep Prison. I'm afraid of like Econ, Brain Con into Heavy Storm, just ruining my day. So he goes for Caius, and then we do the hilarious dodge the Caius play with the Torrential Tribute, which is nice. So the Stardust is going to be coming back, and we just compulse that Ab-Zero. No reason to take that damage. Bring back the Stardust Dragon. And if you think about it, we could actually dodge again with MST if he had another Monarch. So I think the Stardust dodging is pretty funny. I didn't side out my spell trap removal because I wasn't 100% sure he was on Frogs, but we did bring in Vanity's Fiend since Prodigy means it's either Frogs or it's Diva Hero, and Vanity's Fiend is pretty good either way. So he goes for Econ here, not great. He Tribute Summons Vanity's Fiend, attacks. We're going to go ahead and deprison that. And now we're going to special out Sidra. Obviously, we can't clear all this stuff here, so I just opt to pass. He goes for the Caius play, attack, and now Gores into Vanity's Fiend, pretty clearly going to win me the game here. Yeah, we just tribute stuff with the Vanity's Fiend, and yeah, we're still on Heavy Storm too, but it doesn't matter. It's pretty hard to see how he breaks this this field, so going to scoop it up. We take it 2-0 versus Frogs. Opponent made some strange decisions, perhaps, but hey, we take those. We take those. Next match up against Quick Draw. This one straight out of 2010, basically. So we just go ahead and set the Raikou here. And then he actually opts to summon Blaze Accelerator attack. And it's kind of funny. We're both refusing to Raikou the other set monster because we're afraid of getting punished. But it was actually just a Raikou staring down a Raikou. So if we'd both just done the dumb play of Raikouing their set monster, we would have been chilling. So we go ahead and Mindcon the Raikou. Obviously, I did this to play around. I wasn't 100% sure the set monster was right. I was still just thinking that that it might not just be a set Raikou. Because if it was a set Raikou, he'd have just Raikou'd my Raikou, right? But then he didn't. So I was playing around bottomless and not thinking I would just be able to Raikou kill his back row. But I guess that's how it goes. So still an okay play. We forced the Wing Blast. He stacks the thing. We just mill it. And now we're going into Gores, which is going to be pretty solid here. The opponent, however, does have his own Gores, so he's going to Gores us back, but the Caius is going to trade pretty well here. One thing we are worried about, though, is if he ever finds a Volcanic Shell, he can just out all of our big boys. So I think I set the Book of Moon here because we want to have that Mirror Force in case there's a Typhoon or a Heavy Storm. He goes Charge, gets a Raikou, just sets, switches to defense. Okay, we're going to attack over everything. Hope he doesn't mill a Volcanic Shell. He doesn't, so we set the Spy. He draws into Heavy Storm. Now he gets a Pot of Avarice off, and we're just still sitting here like, please, no Shell. Don't draw into Shell. All right, he draws Shell, but he decides to go for the Quick Draw play instead, which I get because he doesn't have other plays. So it's probably better to just make a dude. He goes for Turbo Warrior, which is pretty annoying because we can't just send it or Raikou that. Fortunately, we've held back this Heavy Storm, or this Mirror Force, so after we get Heavy Stormed, we're still able to get rid of the Turbo Warrior, but there's another Pot of Avarice, so not going great. However, he used his Battle Phase, which means he can't just pop our set monsters here. He goes set Shell. We go Spy into Spy. Unfortunately, we milled our Descendant earlier. Actually, our mills were quite unlucky. We milled our Descendant, and we milled like 2 Avarices. So we can't go for game here, because 19 plus 15 would be 34, and we would be able to go for game. Gores is gone. So not really worrying about that. Really only concerned if there's a Trag, I guess. But, that's the way we mill, I guess. Here we could have normal summoned the Airbellum, but I'm like pretty sure that's not going to work. Either it's a Bottomless or Book of Moon and they just stop that play. Or worst case scenario, it's Torrential, in which case we get completely owned. So I decided just not go for that. We set the Raikou, and then they take it out here with the Blaze Accelerator, set their own Raikou. Here we summon the Airbellum, but there is a Bottomless. And the other one's also Bottomless, so it's going to be a while before we'll be able to summon an Airbellum. And here they make Iron Chain. I'm just like praying they don't mill the third Avarice from our deck. That would be so unfortunate. They do mill a Caius, which would have won us the game on the spot there, which is a little annoying, but okay. We can go for Sork. Still a pretty good draw. Gets rid of the thing. They have Bottomless for it. All right. They go set Torrential. We put everything back with Avarice, and then I do think we draw into a Caius, and yeah, this wins us the game. We know the only card that could be set where we wouldn't win the game is if it's Torrential. And it is Torrential, but I guess at least we forced it out. We had to force it out at some point. Here we go set Compulse, set Sangan. Obviously, that's the play. Now we go into Spy. They set Dust Shoot. We just Typhoon it immediately. Summon Spy, attack, and then before damage step Compulse. I guess just to play around Fader, just in case. It's Quick Draw. He could have Fader, It could be a thing. So definitely good that we did that. So this game, we just go for Cat. We want to use our normal summon. We want to get our Avarice live. Makes sense. We go into Android, hit over his thing. It's a Dandelion. Okay. We're definitely thinking maybe Caius could be coming. I do set the Torrential, just in case there's some kind of quick draw Drill Warrior play. to be able to interrupt that, obviously. So he just Kai'Sa's my guy. I decided to let that go. I want to be greedier with this Torrential than that. We swing into the Dandy token. He just lets that go. Now he goes for the quick draw play, and this is where the Torrential is definitely getting used because he's spending his normal summon here too, since he's using the shell and not just quick draw Dandy. So very solid Torrential Tribute there for us. He follows it up with Avarice, which is great because we can Crow, get a 5th monster in our graveyard, stop his Avarice, and now our Avarice is going to be live. So we put it all back. And then we just draw the 2 Sidras, which I probably should have sided out. I think I sided kind of weird in this match. I definitely sided because I brought in Crow. But we left in like Sidra and Brain Control against friggin' Quick Draw. Not smart. Not smart on my part. I don't know what I was thinking. We swing in. He just faders. Goes for the Caius. Okay. Caius attack. We have to book here. I guess we don't have to. We choose to book here just to make sure we can run over that thing. I have a read as Mirror Force at this point because I feel like anything else would have been used in terms of it would have been used to either stop my Torrential or to on my Airbellum. Did I normal summon Airbellum earlier? Yeah, I normal summoned Airbellum earlier, and that's pretty like prime, bottomless target. So maybe it's Phoenix Wing too. But I think this play is fine into that as well. So we just go for Stardust, and the Stardust is going to trade there. He doesn't get the card ripped, I guess. He trades his Mirror Force to keep his hand intact. So we go for the Pot of Avarice here. See, that situations like this is where Charge is nice, because just like set up our Avarice. Draw 2 more, then we draw back into Cat. Very funny. We swing in. We do end up ripping the Volcanic Shell, which is obviously not the greatest thing to rip, but it doesn't really matter what you rip in his hand. They're both just pretty dead cards. So we swing in, make our other level 5, and then we don't set Mind Crush because we want the Gores to be live. He draws into a Junk Synchron, which doesn't exactly do anything in this situation. So we're going to take that one 2-0 as well. Well, that went pretty well. I think Synchro Cat, pretty underrated, pretty solid deck. It definitely seemed to perform all right in these matches. But, hey, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace out. As always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Furthermore, if you enjoy my content, you should think about becoming a channel member. You get access to tons of bonus content, and it's a great way to help support the channel.